I like your style, son.
Just make sure you rise above all this madness out here. Mind elevation, man. Fuck that petty shit. You don't need it. For real.
New pilot link.
Peace and blessings to my good people. You in for another one. You in for a great one right now. I got my brother with me. I got a YN with me. I got a very unique individual that I had an opportunity to sit down with and chop it up with. My brother Mike. Mike is a type of brother that you're going to have a good time with. Mike is the type of brother that have your mind racing. And Mike is the type of brother that have you understand what emotional intelligence is.
And that's all a good thing.
That's all a great thing. There's many blessings with that. So I brought Mike today because I want to talk about a couple things. I have a couple rants, and I want to have my arguments and my rants with unity. It's one thing to hear my voice, but I want you to hear my community.
That boy is
Ain't
good.
no better pick for somebody to rant about something than me. Trust me. If you know me, because I say what I want at the heat of them. I'm unique, like he said. I'm gonna say what I feel. I'm gonna give my opinion. And I'm a millennial, so you keep that in mind. Like, I'm not one of these sensitive TikTok babies, and I'm not one of these little, like, if you don't like what I'm saying, then cancel me. So, but yeah, as y'all heard, my name Mike. Some of y'all may know me as Bishop, but today I'm Mike. From New Haven, born and raised. I'm adopted, so, I got that. Was in DCF. I got my foster family that I spent some time with, too. Shout out to them. Tawanda, Crawley Ebron, James Ebron, my foster family.
Mm-hmm.
My foster brother, Simacare. Not Summer Care, Simacare. My little sister, Kima. My little brother, Sakir. Now, I got my adopted family. Some of them I deal with. There's some I don't. Y'all know who y'all are. I did the group homes. I did the hospitals. But at the same time, I could be, I could be a YN, and then I could talk to you about some music.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you, I could break the whole meaning of a song down. Then I could be talking to you 1 minute. I could be talking to you about some politics.
Versatile.
How
you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed. My first time in this scenario. It's nice. It's a nice feeling.
Got the bright lights. Got the camera.
Yeah, that's nice.
We got it lined up for the superstar.
Yeah.
Before we go in, though, I gotta highlight somebody real quick. Other than my brother in front of me, I gotta highlight one of the best comedians that ever stepped in the NBA court. One of the funniest guys to ever be behind the scenes of the NBA, to be in the front of the NBA. I gotta highlight my brother Nico. Nico is one of the best comedians I ever seen in my life. It gets no better than Nico. And the reason I'm saying that because Nico is the GM for the Dallas Mavericks. But the type of, I say, foolery, the type of entertainment that he doing by trading Luka for Anthony Davis. Luka averaging right now 30 a game. Luka right now is a young player with endorsement deal from Michael Jordan. Luka is in your top 5 at any position. Luka is your top 5 for any player right now present in NBA. But I'm going to trade Luka because I want to get closer to NBA championship. Now, think about that real quick, right? I just gave you all that good stats about Luka. But now I'm going to trade you because I want to get closer to NBA championship. And the year before, they were just at the finals. Anthony Davis is right now averaging 0 points, and he got one of the best seats in the house because he's injured right now. For that, right? Everybody know who Steph Curry is, right? Everybody know that's one of the best shooters that we ever seen in the history of the NBA. The man can't miss. Trick shots, regular shots, any type of shot. He's going to go down a Hall of Famer. Nike had an opportunity to sign this man. Just like they signed LeBron, just like they signed Jordan, just like they signed Kyrie. Nike has a report of signing the next big thing. Nico was supposed to meet with Steph Curry. You know what happened when Nico pulled up? He pulled Curry in the room, mispronounced his name, and had a poster of Kevin Durant. How can you still have a job and do all these type of things? How can you constantly mess up every single where you go and you still in the function? You know when he went to LA? The first game that, you know, Dallas played the LA Lakers at LA. You know what they was chanting? Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Nico. We can go somewhere now. You know what Dallas was doing after he did that trade? Protesting. Asking why he still got this job. Boycotting. You know Dallas' status right now as a team is everybody's injured. Kyrie. AD. And the tickets is high. He raised the price tickets. Before Luka left, he raised the price tickets. After Luka left, he kept them that high. So now I got no players. It costs too much for you to show up. But I want to go to the championship. Speaking of another nut.
Let him cook.
Speaking of another crash out, I want to talk about, what you call him? Cheetah?
I got many names for that man, so bear with me, y'all, because you're going to hear a little bit of uniqueness. And again, you have been warned. This is not for the sensitive. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't like what I'm saying, then you can cancel me. So if Mr. Twitter Fingers, your boy, Mr. 45, the walking Cheeto, the orange face pussy grabber,
oh
Agent
my God.
Orange.
Oh, man. What the fuck?
Agent Orange, your boy, Mr. Trump. I'm going to acknowledge his name that one time. The walking Cheeto. Yeah, that's who we were talking about.
I want to talk about how everybody's in the uproar, how everybody, which you should be, how everybody's upset and how everybody is just confused. They don't understand what's going on and how this ain't fair what he's doing. But everything he's doing was in that Project 25. Because I see certain things in Project 25 that have my mind racing too in disbelief. Because like, nah, you can't do that. Ain't no way you can take away the board of education. Like, education is everything. That's what America is so-called built on. That's why we got so many colleges. That's why we got so many students right now paying the school back. Why would you take that away? You're banning slavery. All right, you're banning slavery, so we can't learn about our history. Okay. And you're going to end civil rights. How can you end civil rights where it's supposed to be a land of freedom? A land of equality. This is what our, first presidents and the government fought for, right? Then I started thinking even deeper. You end civil rights. How can you do that? Segregation. So you mean to tell me if I go to a certain spot, let's say I go to Starbucks, and Starbucks says no blacks allowed, they can do that. If Starbucks tell me no Middle Eastern people allowed, they can do that. Now they got that green light to do all these type of things. And why would you hide slavery, right? Why would you hide something that's been documented and that's been shown so many times out through our life? The same reason they'll kill a slave who knew how to read. If we educate ourselves, if we become aware of ourselves, we'll change ourselves. Black people spend $1 trillion in anything you could think of as far as spending that dollar. So we spending $1 trillion each and every day and we one of the poorest companies. We one of the poorest companies as far as a community, as far as a group, and as far as a business. But we'll break our net to go somewhere where they'll racial profile us, where they'll follow us, where they'll disrespect us, and they'll talk junk. They'll talk junk to us in the language that we don't even understand. But we'll sit there, smile in their face, and come back each Friday that we get paid. But now y'all want to do support black businesses. Now you want to shop while black.
He's heating up.
When this man basically spit in our face, and we should have been doing that.
That's who y'all voted for. We watched it live. This is who y'all voted for. You made your bed, you better lay in it real comfortable. Like that man, he really is just trying to divide and conquer. He really wants to be a dictator. He wants to be just like Kim Jong-un and Putin. Furthermore, I don't want to take it serious, this segregation thing. But what if black people decide they want to start making their own places and they put black only or colored only? That could cause a chain reaction too. And this is what this is all he wants. Knock on wood, hopefully y'all don't fall into that man's trap. But this is America, so.
It was a nice trap because we seen signs of this early in Florida. Where that dude was running for that governor in Florida was running for president. Mm-hmm. He said the exact same thing. Oh, I'm going to ban people talking about slavery. I'm going to ban African-American studies. I'm going to ban all these type of things. If you talk about anything that's dealing with history that we don't agree with, I'm going to take the funds.
Elijah Edwards is a high school sophomore. Next year, he's supposed to be taking an advanced placement class in African-American studies. But in January, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis blocked the proposed course from being offered across the state, saying the curriculum lacked educational value.
Vice President Kamala Harris joining politicians, educators, historians, and others in blasting Florida Governor Ron DeSantis's, quote, extremist education policies, including new standards for how Black history will be approached in Florida schools. The Board of Education there approved new guidelines this week, with one for middle school students that states, quote, instruction includes how slaves developed skills which could be applied for their personal benefit. The vice president calling it revisionist history. DeSantis yesterday said he wasn't involved in crafting those guidelines, but defended lessons about the benefits to enslaved people.
But we laughed at that. We clowned him. We say he'll never make it. And they say we're just going to get Trump because Trump is a little bit more radical, but he's not as radical as him. Trump did one of the biggest finesse because the same thing we was laughing and saying he'll never get a chance to do, Trump is doing the exact same thing. What was your point of signing to bring back segregation?
What are you really saying? We all know the allegations you have on your name, and you swear up and down you're not racist or whatever the case may be, but then you're supporting all of this. What are you really trying to prove here? Mm-hmm. Like, what is really your purpose for all of this? Who's really giving you your orders?
I think they see a point of time that the way that technology is and the way that information is so fluid and that flow of energy is so high, you got to do everything you can to keep it where it's more dominant in my point of view, my POV. You know, we was talking about it earlier. You go on TikTok and see anything. I can go on Google, see anything. I can go on Chat, GBT. Mm-hmm. I can go to the library. It's more cool now to be smart. It's more cool now to have knowledge and be able to speak on certain things. So that opens up a chain of reaction for people to start questioning you now and start holding you accountable for your past sins. So how can we stop that? You know what? If you talk about this, I'm taking this away. If you talk about slavery, if you talk about equality, I'm going to take this away. Because the DEI, right? What was the point of taking away the DEI? Because the DEI was not only affecting people of color, it was affecting women, it was affecting gay people, it was affecting people who was less privileged. Exactly. My uncle might not work at this firm, but I'm more qualified than his nephew. But now it's going back to my uncle worked at this firm, and I got my ticket. No excuses now. I just don't gotta hire you. So I look at these type of things, I just say, and I think about it. Cause they seen Nat Turner one time and they got scared.
New pilot language.
They seen one Nat Turner and they was terrified.
Yeah.
And they think about the Martin, and nothing against Martin. Shout out to Martin, because when he finally realized what was going on, they got him out the way. But they look at the turn the cheek. Oh, we're just going to walk down this bridge and get beat up.
That's not us. That's not my generation. I tell you that right now. I respect all of them. I respect Marcus Garvey. I respect Malcolm X. I respect, Huey P. Newton wasn't going for that.
No.
Them Black Panthers definitely wasn't going for that.
No.
That's why I like what they did more, even though everybody knows how they ended. But what they was stood for in the beginning, I respect. I'm not my ancestors, so I'm not going out here looking for anything. But don't think that you're gonna, if and when these laws go through, like you're just gonna be doing anything to me or mine
To this day.
because that's not what we're doing. This is not the 1950s. This is not the 1960s, and we damn sure ain't down south. So, just like I said, it's to the point where I don't even want to. It's like I like talking about it, but I don't want to talk because it's just every single day there's something new. Every single day, every time Ross said, every time I open up TikTok, there's something on TikTok posted about that Walking Cheeto did something, or his little mini-me, one of his minions did something.
They want to take away that Jackie Robinson went to the military.
Jackie Robinson.
They wanted to take that away at first until people protest. Then they had to bring it back.
Why? What did he do? That man been dead for years. Like, what does his military record have to do with even any of the stuff that you're doing right now with the DEI and the segregation? What does Jackie Robinson have to do with any of that? But I bet you'll keep Elvis up there.
Oh, yes. Elvis the GOAT to them. They want to do all this type of race and eliminating because, you know why? They dying off. It's a new power coming. These young people who look like us, who look like Joe, who look like these people who's coming into the world, they have a voice now. They know how to speak and know how to think outside of that racial barrier. So when they know how to think outside that racial barrier, that's going to take away a lot of things that they've been living for years from. They can't have that. They can't have that. So they're going to do all these type of little scenarios and all these type of little illustrations, hoping that we ignore it, hoping we look past it, hoping this, they got nothing to do with me because I ain't vote. Segregation definitely has something to do with you.
Yeah, it definitely do.
Segregation has something to do with everybody. I done talked about it before in Ida B. Wells' episode. How we had to go in the back of the restaurant to get our food. Over there by the dumpsters, over there by the trash, over there by the skunks and the cats and the raccoons. I like how the fact that Lincoln Heights, Ohio, I like how they giving it up. I like how Lincoln Heights is taking matters in their own hands because they see that if we just sit here and wait, nothing's going to change.
Nothing.
It was an opportunity in Lincoln Heights that a racial group went down there, and they was posted outside of the local high schools, the local community buildings, and anytime they seen a person of color or a Hispanic person, they said racial slurs to them. So they acting like they cleansed, they acting like they're the good old boys, and they're saying all this type of crazy things. They're going crazy. The people in that community, they calling the police. They're telling the police, they're filing reports, and they're telling them, well, until they attack somebody, we can't do nothing. Well, until they harm somebody, until it become a hate crime, it's only so much we can do.
Lincoln Heights residents have a lot more questions than answers about how a hate group was able to fly swastikas off an I-75 overpass and leave without any legal consequences.
From the moment police arrived at a white supremacist rally
South 75 Division, we need to shut down.
to the neo-Nazis fleeing in the back of a U-Haul.
No.
Just 12 minutes passed. In a statement, Evendale police say that officers, quote, assessed that the demonstration was not unlawful, and they attempted to, quote, limit interactions between groups likely to be hostile to one another.
So you know what the people did? They got in that riot gear. They in all black. They got bulletproof vests. They got machine guns. And they're making sure that their kids get walked to school and nothing happens to them. They're making sure that older people can walk to the grocery store and nothing happened to them. And you know, when they seen that, that's when the news came out.
Of course it is, because now you fighting back.
That's when news reporters started showing up.
The minute you start fighting back, now that's when the Fox News, yours truly, Fox News. Here goes my uniqueness again. Fox News, you know, because they know they love an opportunity. Fox News show right up when as soon as there's insurrections and all that stuff, some anarchy going on, then they want to show up.
They asking them, well, why are you doing this? Are you really providing a safer environment by doing this? Did you try to call the police?
Why are you sitting over here interviewing me? Where was y'all at when these people first pulled up? Why are they doing this? Why are you asking me? Why go over there and ask them why they doing this?
You seeing grown men attack a child by calling that child outside their name, and like you said, you're nowhere to be found. You're seeing a white van pulling up, jumping out like they SWAT team, and they're just going around this neighborhood. That's a dominant black neighborhood. This one of the first black neighborhoods that accepted us, and one of the first black neighborhoods that really introduced entrepreneurship for us. They come to this area and they do all these type of things. But the news nowhere to be found. But soon these people start walking around with these guns that they license to carry. Soon these people start dressing up in riot gear to protect their own and themselves. Now you're doing a report. Now you need to come to Lincoln Heights, Ohio. And then they got this store owner, this coon. They interview him. He talking about, is it really safe? Is this really the right thing to do? I just don't like it. I don't like that the racist, people did that. The Klans did that. But I don't like to see riot gear. Well, what do you want to see then? Because if that riot gear don't show up, these little kids that just want to mind their business and get an education is going to continue to get bullied.
Yeah, 'cause history is starting to repeat itself. I tell you right now, I'm not about to go be dealing with no random people. Just I'm out in the middle of the night. Hypothetically speaking, I'm gonna paint a scenario for people who haven't read a book. A little history lesson that they try to get rid of. I'm gonna give y'all one now. Like when the Ku Klux Klan, who they used to call the spook hunters, would ride around town at nighttime, past curfew or whatever the case may be. They would be riding around looking for black people that were out late, and black people used to have to hide in a ditch or hide in a field somewhere when they see the cars coming around. And if you got caught, you got hung, you got burnt, you got dragged around the town. So it's damn near the same thing. These dudes pulled up in a whole pickup truck. I think it was a U-Haul truck.
It was U-Haul. Mm-hmm.
And hopped out the back on all black, was standing on the bridge, and they were being provoked. They were provoking. They were verbally, oh, you N-word this and you N-word that. You're provoking. Any other time a cop, in any other situation, a cop would say you provoked them, you're going to jail too. But in this situation, nah, they don't want to say that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying, like you said, not repeating history. I'm not saying, burn down the grocery store, burn down the convenience store, burn down the gas station, or do anything like that, because when you do stuff like that, you're only hurting yourself and,
yes,
the
you're
economic
only hurting your own community if you attack your own community. What's the point of burning down your local corner store? What good are you doing that? What good are you doing burning down someone's store that never did wrong or did the community no wrong, but now you want to go in that man's or woman or whatever the case may be store and burn it down because you mad? Nah, that ain't gonna do nothing. I'm not gonna tell you to do any of that, but it's like that doesn't make no sense.
No, it just being aware. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I look at the news now. only for information. I used to look at the news like kind of like, oh, let me see what's going on in the world. Let me see, what's going on here, over there. I only look at it just to know what I need to know, because it can be so hard at times to look at the news because you're just seeing so much of the same, like, they used to call it a rabbit out the hat. And that to me, that term basically means that I done tricked you so long, and now I'm being more aggressive with it to the point I don't even got to hide it no more. Because I done set everything up now, and I got everybody in position now to, you can take me to court. You can take the president to court if you want to, but how long is that going to take?
You know how many times they done took this man to court already, and this man done been clear, and he's clear as day, guilty, and y'all still didn't do nothing to this man, and that's why y'all in the situation that y'all in now. Like I said, lay in y'all bed, because now y'all made these decisions, America. Not to sound all crazy and everything, but y'all made this decision. Y'all voted for this man, and even the vets. I mean, shout out to the veterans and all that stuff, but what's happening to them ain't right either, but y'all voted for this man.
You think about it, I was looking at the news not too long ago, and it was one of the people, they was talking about Social Security, like you saying with the vets. They was talking about Social Security. And he was basically saying that he don't understand why people are hollering about Social Security, because if you don't get it, you supposed to wait till the next week you're supposed to get it. He said his aunt was 92 years old. He said, yeah, my aunt and grandma, whatever was one he said, she's 92 years old. If she don't get Social Security, that's okay, because she knows next week she gonna get it. But if they holler about it, if they make a fuss about it, and if they try to say why they're not getting it, they're stealing.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining. And if all the guys who did PayPal, like Elon knows this by heart, right? Anybody who's been in the payment system and the process system knows the easiest way to find the fraudster is to stop payments and listen.
Yeah.
Because whoever screams is the one stealing.
What?
What?
Your boy's trying to shut it down so we can't get it next week. What are you talking about? Your boy, your grand wizard.
To say that on the live news station to somebody interview, they had enough audacity to say that and be like, yeah, I mean, if they're hollering about Social Security, it's because they was always stealing it. They were the ones that was stealing it.
Not to sound like an asshole, but you 92 years old. Next week might not be guaranteed. And, bro, that was just the stupidest thing to say. Like, bro, wait till next week? Like, what? Every day there's something dumb being said or something dumb being done. What are y'all going to ban talking about the Boston Tea Party next?
And it's crazy. When I had my son, I didn't really depend on the school to kind of teach him history. I didn't really depend on the school to kind of at least teach him about how to be an entrepreneur, how to be a man. I knew they would teach him how to be a laborer, how to be a worker. But I never really depend on them to fully teach him. Now it's to the point where I don't think they're going to teach him anything at all. We have to make sure we educating each other, because as you can see, the school system not going to do it. Your president not going to do it, and these government officials not going to do it. Well, not all of them. Some of them not going to do it as well. To look somebody in the face that's over 80 years old and tell them why you can't wait the next week. And then, like you said, but I'm steady doing things to take it away. Come on, man.
Yeah, maybe y'all shouldn't shut down the Board of Education just yet. Maybe a lot of y'all, the Walking Cheeto included, need to go back to school and do some studying, because y'all doing a lot of stuff and y'all not realizing the repercussion of this stuff.
To me, this is the perfect time. This is the perfect time to learn a trade.
Yep.
This is the perfect time, like you said earlier, to pick up a book.
Save your money.
And save your money. Save your money. Because you got to think about it. Inflation. Tariffs. All these things being raised. All these things. And usually when things like that usually happens, this going off history, they're gearing up for a war.
Yep.
They're gearing up for a war. You have Biden, right? You have Biden stick up for Ukraine, support Ukraine, give resources for Ukraine. Now we got Trump arguing and going back and forth for Ukraine.
Because Putin is his boy. That's why.
I just feel conflicted, confused. And maybe it's not on me to figure it out, but I just feel conflicted and confused when people just say it's not about me. This is bigger than me. To a certain part, it is bigger than you, but it's affecting you. And it's definitely going to affect your youngins. If you got children out here, if you got a little brother out here or a little sister out here, if you got a mama out here or grandparents, it's affecting you, bro. Because he's hitting these two groups. He's hitting these two groups directly. Your day will come when it's going to hit you. But he hitting these two groups directly. And he's doing it slowly but surely. He's not hitting you all at once, because then what happened then? Martial law, renegade. It'd be a whole bunch of this chaos. So to keep it how I want to keep it, I'm just going to give you steady by steady a Project 25. Steady by steady. A lot of Muslim countries is banned. A lot of Muslims that protest and speak up for Palestine, who got their green card, is getting revoked and getting sent back anyway. But that was in your Project 25. The one you said that's fake news, the one that you said that would never happen, but he's checking off each and every one. Like you said, these people need to read a book. Wake up, and I hope these people know that Nat Turner is more than one.
It's definitely more than one.
2025.
In 2025, there's I'm gonna let you know right now. There's a whole bunch of Nat Turners in 2025.
Oh, it's good.
And for the record, there's white Nat Turners too at that, and there's Puerto Rican Nat Turners at this. It's a different time.
It's different. They was scared of a 21-year-old from Chicago who had a health clinic, who was bringing everybody together, and who wanted to build a bigger hospital on the west side of Chicago. Fred Hammond. Is a million Freds now.
Million of them. You when you hear about the hood, like I said, it's all stereotypical. Like, you don't hear about no black man from the hood doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or that's not how people from the hood, or it's all that expectation stereotype thing to me. Like, it's history and trauma. All comes down to history and trauma and what we were told to act like and be like, or what our expectations was, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just look at it because, I didn't grow up in like the skyscrapers or, the little high rise. I didn't grow up in there. I grew up in like apartments or buildings on top of each other. That was kind of like my hoods and projects. And then I just look at the structure of them, and just the overall conduct and energy. It's the loss with the loss. Then I think about it and I go even deeper. I'm like, well, who all put us there? The government. You think about certain neighborhoods, they right beside the highway. I don't think that's an accident. A lot of times in these hoods, we got PKs on every corner that get fronted by who? The government.
Yep. The biggest money maker gonna be who? The predominant people in the urban environments, which is African American, Hispanic, and then Caucasian.
Because it's a conflict, right? It's a conflict to tell somebody, well, why you won't just buy in your neighborhood? Or why you just won't shop in your neighborhood? But you look in our neighborhood, it's PKs in our neighborhood. And PKs is a form of destruction. Package stores, ABC stores, liquor stores, whatever you want to call it. Destruction. Then you think about some of the bodegas with the mystery meat. The same mystery meat we're going to get in prison.
Shit, they even put the low quality liquor in the PKs.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no good liquor unless you go to like a plaza somewhere in the next town over, or some case. The same thing, you might go to a corner store or not even a corner store, a store that's in a plaza, like a Krauser's or something, and the food and like even the snacks in there is better quality Not like you could go somewhere out and you would barely see some hot fries.
Mm-hmm.
You'll barely see Wick chips, or y'all know what I'm talking about. You'll barely see a big Slurp juice or a CNC soda. It's called redlining. They put the low quality stuff in the urban environments because that's what people want because it's cheaper, or that's what we can afford. And the ones that can't afford it, it's like they put it so far out in neighborhoods or areas so far out where you don't even want to go out there. And then you got the walking Cheeto doing all of this stuff, and prices is going up, even in the corner stores.
They're doing the same thing with the fish.
Tilapia. Fish?
Tilapia.
Oh, man. That's
Tilapia.
crazy.
Anytime you see fish that's not wild catch,
yeah.
Anytime you buy fish, make sure it says wild catch. Because when it's wild catch, I mean it's in the ocean. It's more, have opportunity to be more cleaner. Because when it's not wild catch, they have it basically like in a cage. So what happens in that cage? That fish going to go to the bathroom. That fish might do whatever in that cage. All that's being mixed with the fish. So when they take it out of that cage and they do whatever they do with it, you're getting all that type of stuff. Them bacteria, them poisons, and you're eating it. But if it's wild catch, it's more healthier, cleaner for you to be, survive. They do with tilapia because tilapia is popular, and tilapia is more of a hot tamale. A lot of people don't like catfish because of all them bones. Whiting could be a little expensive. Tilapia is good and it's popular, so they do with tilapia a lot. So be careful when you get tilapia, to your point of checking out these foods. Yeah. I want to talk about how I met you. So I met Mike through my job. I work at a job that worked with people just coming home from prison, male and female. So we work with them, we build with them. We try to make sure that they don't have that opportunity to go fall into that trap of going back to prison. And what did I mean by that, right? Opportunity. Sometime when we come home, because I'm one of the people that came home too, sometime we come home, our mind begin to race. Our mind begin to race because now we free and we've been a man and we feel like we a man. We want to go back to what we know, and what we know, being able to provide. But we're coming into a space that we've been going for a little bit of years, so we're behind. And we're seeing that we might not get a job so quick as we feel we deserve, and we got people in our right ear and our left ear telling us to come back to what we know. Or it's trying to put us on to another play that might have us quicker going back to getting locked up. So we come right in that middle between all that storm, and we try to just navigate them and show them more tools. Yeah, take that same skills that you learned from hustling. Take that same skills and that energy that you learned how to survive out the land, and let's bring it over here so we can multiply them skills. We do things like that. Mike did 12 years, right?
Yeah, I was originally convicted for 20 years, spent after 15 years. Well, 15 years. I had 15 years for a home invasion I did in Waterbury. And by the grace of God, well, the Creator, I got a sentence modification. Those who've been in jail in Connecticut, I don't know if they do that out of state, but in Connecticut, I got a sentence modification. I was asking for 2 years back. 2 years off of 15 years, and I was already in jail at that time when I was going to court for 11 and a half years, going on 12 years. So when I got granted the 2 years back, that moved my 15 years to 13 years. I was already in jail for 11 and a half years. I was in jail for 12 years already, so basically DOC had to recalculate my time, and it pushed my parole date up and past my eligibility to the point where basically DOC had no choice but to push me out because my time was recalculated and everything like that.
And when that happened, you went in front of the board?
No. What happened was I had a sentence modification where I went. My lawyer who represented me sat in front of a board. I didn't go to court that day, or that's the where they make the decision if they're going to accept you or not, and if they do, your lawyer or whatever the case may be will tell you, like, all right, listen, they accepted, they granted a hearing, your date is this day. Most of the time when they granted you a hearing and you're going to the court, that means you're halfway in the door. Now it's all about you convincing the judge when you go in front of the judge. And so, keep in mind, I ain't been to Waterbury in 12 years since. So stepping back in that courtroom, I was actually in the courtroom next door to the courtroom that I got sentenced in. I was in the courtroom that I originally got arraigned in my first day. That's the courtroom I was in. But, when I went in there, that shit was nervous. I was nervous as all hell because, I didn't have the best record in DLC. I was a wild one. And I was surprised. I was so nervous that I didn't even hear the judge grant me the 2 years back. She asked me to speak. I had a letter prepared, and I know how to talk and articulate myself when I need to.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was real until the marshal had me in the elevator. And anybody who been in Waterbury Court, y'all know what I'm talking about. That elevator going back downstairs. So he's like, congratulations. And I was like, huh? And he was like, yeah, congratulations. You got your time. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, I'm going home. I'm about to go home. I've been gone 12 years. I went to jail.
Feel? What was the first thing that popped in your head when you realized in that elevator that, like you said, you had 20, right?
I had 20 years suspended after 15. So I had 5 years over my head.
And then you got it bumped down to I'm about to go home in 2.
And now they took the 2 years off. Now I have 13 years. I've been in jail 12 years. My parole date was the following year had I not got granted the modification. But being that I did, that moved my parole date up exceptionally real quick and actually pushed my parole eligibility past the eligibility date. Once they recalculated everything, by time that I had in, past all of that. So
what was your thoughts though when he said congratulations?
Honestly, the first thing that went through my head was something that an OG told me in jail, one of my old cellies, when he used to always tell me, yo, you need to get all your shit together now because you're going to be going home before you even know it. And this is when I was still doing the court process on my modification. And he was telling me, bro, you're going to get the modification. This is your first time in jail. As long as you stay out of trouble. I caught 3 more tickets after that, but they were minor. He was like, they going to give you that. I didn't brush it off, but I wasn't taking it as serious until, when once it was like, oh, shit, like, damn, I'm about to be home. Like, in the next few months. I already knew I was going home in the next few months, and it was like, I've been gone so long, I don't know who to call. I don't know who to talk to. Like, now I got to go back to the jail and ask them for this, and I got to sign up for the halfway now. I got to handle all of this. It was, and y'all all heard him in the beginning, YN. Like, I'm a former crash out, so, I got to pass. I was in jail doing what I did, and so now you got to be on your P's and Q's now because it's like, even at that point, I wasn't getting into nothing. Now I'm not avoiding people, but it's like, now I'm taking heed. Like, this is my second chance. Like, I'm not fucking this up, and I'm telling people, like, yo, do not, and I repeat, do not start nothing around me. And don't bring nothing around me where I would have to force to defend myself as a man. Don't bring none of that energy around me.
How old were you? Like, what was your age when you first got locked up?
I was 18.
18. So what was the age when you was back in that first court in Waterbury? What was that age when you went back in there?
For the modification? 30.
30.
That was 12 years later.
12 years later. And then you came home when you was 30, right?
Yep. No, because I turned 31 in jail. I had my birthday in jail. I came home a week after my birthday.
So okay, so you was like 31 then.
Yeah, but it was weird. Like, I didn't step foot on Waterbury ground, but I was looking outside and everything, and don't look the same. Haven't been back to Waterbury since then. It's not like it's not. I don't know. I can't really tell you why. I don't know why to this day why I haven't even gone back out there. That's a part of the story since I came home that I still haven't started yet, going back out there.
How did it feel to go in when you was 18 and come out 30s? You missed your whole 20s, and now you out here trying to navigate.
Well, it was, honestly, it was like, wow, but being that, and I'm not trying to minimize everything, but it was like I went to residentials and the psych wards as a little kid, so I already was used to that, getting released from a program or a controlled environment and coming home feeling. It's not jail, but it's still the same. It's the same thing in a certain way. And even when I first got locked up, my first day in jail, when I got there, after, they brought me into Whaley Ave and everything, told me to do that wild shower, and they asked me up for my information in the back to bring me to S unit. Again, anybody, y'all know what I'm talking about. I got in there, and it's like I've never been to jail where I got my number now, but I've been to a holding cell a few times, and I've been to residential. So I know it's like I went in there, said what up to my cellie, and I just started making my bed. And I got in my bed, climbed up on the top bunk, and was just laying down like it was a regular day. Like I knew I was in jail, but I was familiar with the feeling already due to residentials and the psych wards. So now we fast forward 12 years later, and it was like sometimes it was serious. I know it's serious and I'm happy, but I would not really put too much in it. Like, it's like I'm brushing it off. I'm not brushing it off, but it's just like, all right, cool. So when I found out I was going home, I was nervous as all hell, because it was like, I ain't got nobody. My mom died. My sister died. I had multiple other family members that died. My closest brother got killed. So it was like, I'm about to go home to deal with all of this. I haven't seen certain family members in years. So I had to prepare myself for all of that. And then I got accepted for the halfway house, but they didn't let me leave until I had to go see parole, and if parole was going to deny me or not. And I went to see parole that year, 2023, August 18th, on my birthday. That was a Friday.
For the ones who don't know, describe the conditions of a halfway house. Because the halfway house, I'm going to let this brother explain. I'm going to add on, but a halfway house, it's a spooky situation.
Especially if you go to the one that I went at. Excuse my language, but here's a little bit more. That is Dopehead Central. And there's good people there. It's better than jail, I'll tell you that much, but it's a blessing and a curse depending on who you deal with in there and who you chill with in there. And depending on what you get in trouble for in there, they will forever be on your heels and harass you when you're not getting into trouble. Mm-hmm. Just for getting into trouble once. And they the kind of people in there where it's like, say it's a community bathroom. So, and there's people in college, I know y'all probably got those little community bathrooms with multiple stalls and everything. So let me paint a scenario. How would y'all feel if everybody's in that stall, right, and you're minding your business, using the bathroom or taking a shower? You're not talking to nobody. You're minding your business. That's just the bathroom that you have to use because you're on that floor. You're a grown man. They're all grown men. They're in there smoking, but you're not smoking. Are you going to go in there and tell them other people, oh, stop smoking because you're breaking the rules? Or you just go handle your business, go take your shower or use your bathroom and just mind your business. Mm-hmm. And the staff smells weed smoke or cigarette smoke, and they say, well, who's smoking in here? And nobody wants to take the blame because you will get in trouble and lose your passes or whatever the case may be. So now they want to say, okay, well, since nobody wants to take the blame, everybody in the bathroom is getting written up. Now you're in the shower minding your business, or you're in the stall minding your business. Now you're mad.
Yeah.
Because you literally didn't do anything. All you did was go in there because that's where you have to go, and now you getting in trouble for something that you didn't do. That's the type of scenarios that constantly go on in there, where it's selfish people like that. Furthermore, I'll even go to another extent where people are in there doing drugs and you reach to go flush the toilet and they got ashes from that drug that get on your hand.
Yeah.
And now you're getting piss test and you don't know if that drug is going to show up in your system because it's all in your pores.
Yeah.
That's how they just disregard, like they don't care. The ceilings be falling in, the food. They got mice running around that place like it's nothing. So, the staff in there is corrupt. Like three staff got fired for pocketing rent money. And
that's I want to highlight that because he hit it right on the head. Because I was going to bring that up too. See, the halfway house to me is a trap for somebody to get locked back up if they don't have their mind together. Because they do certain things and have certain things set up for you to get tripped up. Now, somebody who don't know what a halfway house is, right before you come home, your caseworker in prison will tell you, oh, you can go to a halfway house and you can do the rest of your time there.
It gets you home quicker.
It gets you back to your family quicker. You can see your loved ones quicker. You be outside in the real world. You ain't got to deal with this no more. So a lot of brothers and sisters who don't really understand, they'll be like, oh, yeah, let's do that. So they'll go to this halfway house. When they go to this halfway house, they get in a room. Depending what halfway's out, they're either going to have a cellie or they're going to be by themselves.
Oh, you're never going to be by yourself. You're always going to have a roommate. You're never going to be in that room by yourself. And that's another thing you also got to take in consideration when you got roommates. You don't know what that person is sneaking in. You don't know. And if they do a room shakedown, now usually if they find it in that person's area, then they be like, it's in your area. So then, all right, that's common sense. But if they find something, let's say in a neutral area in the room, and nobody's taking the blame. Now let's say you're at work, but your roommates aren't, and they shake the room down, and now you getting a call like, yo, come back to the halfway. They found something in the room, or your roommate call you like, yo, they found some, whatever the case may be, like, yo, such and such is not. Now you got to deal with that.
You got to get a curfew. You got to get a pass to leave any type of situation. You got to get a pass to go look for a job. You got to get a pass to go to your job. They don't even
let you look for jobs.
You got to get a pass for any type of thing that realizes you getting outside that room or you getting outside that building. They can drug test you at will. They have, to his point, they have certain staff there that provoke you. They got caseworker there who's not going to help you. And then any job you get, they want their money up front.
They want you to pay rent to a place that they're not fixing. You got mice running around here getting into the food. You got other clients stealing work lunches that they're not workers, or you got clients stealing food, other people's food. You got parole blaming staff at the halfway house for certain things, and then staff are blaming parole. Or in my case, like I was supposed to go to another transitional place called a reach bed, and I got in trouble, and parole lied and said my case manager said this, and this, but it was parole lying the whole time. So it's like some of them are in there to help you, but they're really not. And then they do spiteful stuff like, if you don't pay rent, you can't go to work. And they will not let you walk out that building. And if you do, that's an escape charge.
You go back to prison.
You go back to prison. So now what you going to do? You got to call your boss and say, well, my halfway house is not letting me out because I didn't pay rent. Your boss ain't trying to hear that. Now you get fired.
And the main reason they want you to pay rent because they want you to help reestablish the halfway house. You're basically in their mind, you're supposed to be investing in the halfway house and keeping the halfway house running good. But the halfway house is never recouping that money for the halfway house.
No.
And then the government has it set up that they really don't have to charge if they don't want to, but the simple fact that they can and they will. So everything that this halfway house is supposed to be painted to really be that gateway for you to have a nice, smooth transition to the real world because you've been locked up, is all illusion just to have you in that circle. You go to the halfway house, you violate the halfway house, you go back to prison. Then when you go back to prison, depending, you either max out on your sentence or you might catch a new charge because you got an escape charge or you done jumped on somebody. It's going to be that same caseworker that come back to you to tell you to come back to the halfway house to get out early. So you have some brothers that go through a cycle. This a big old circle of the halfway house, a little bit of the free world, and prison. But it's a thing that they tell so many brothers, go to the halfway house, go to the halfway house, go to the halfway house. How did you feel when you finally left the halfway house?
I was excited, but I was also, again, due to parole and their fuckery, I was pushed out. See, as I explained, I was supposed to go to a reach bed, which is like another thing that the halfway house do, which is basically a reach bed is another transitional housing for people who are on parole who need housing, and it slowly helps you get, they help you get an apartment. It's a program, and now you get a feel of how of being in an apartment and paying bills. So then they will find you official housing, get you a real apartment, and now you know the do's and don'ts of when you get your own. Around this time last year, I was up to go. Again, I had got in trouble, and they put me on the board. And this is how you know that place is money hungry. They were so money hungry because I was actually giving them money. I wasn't paying all my rent, but I was giving them rent. And they are so money hungry that they say, well, we're going to put you on the board and we're going to take your passes, your weekend passes or whatever the case may be, but we're still going to let you go to work. I'm still outside getting freedom. So, I mean, okay, yeah, cool. That's why I just brushed it off. Like, y'all really not doing nothing. And due to the fact that I got put on the board for a bogus, very, very bogus reason, honestly, well, it was my fault. I was staying out longer than what I was supposed to, but their conclusion of their investigation was a lie. And then, furthermore, the person what I got told on was going to the library, and I was going to the library way before, and they weren't saying nothing. But the fact that it was a person that was writing the halfway house up, because he got that scenario that I said, I got caught in that scenario where I was using the bathroom and two of my other roommates was in the stall next to me smoking. And the staff, I'm not gonna lie, I was too, but the staff caught them. Like, no, this is a true. I believe it. The staff caught them. At this time, I'm no longer smoking. I'm using the bathroom.
Yeah.
I had my headphones in. I hear the vibration of voices.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I get up, he sees I can't control where smoke goes.
Yeah.
So even if I'm sitting in the stall and I get up and there's mad smoke coming from my stall because the person next to me was smoking, I can't control that. So yeah, it does look like I'm smoking, but I wasn't. And so that one of the roommates, he got caught red-handed and he was resisting, and then they yoked him up. That's where they was wrong. But he wrote them up. He snitched on them, honestly, because there was more stuff that he brought up that he didn't even need to bring up. But that's why the halfway house was salty about him, because he did that, and then you transferred to a different halfway house, so you don't got to deal with the repercussions of you telling.
Yeah.
And then when it circled back to me, that's why they did what they did with me. So then I was supposed to go to the reach bed, and then they told my case manager the whole time, this is what, she was new at the time, so part of it, she didn't know what she was talking about. Part of it was what parole told her.
Yeah.
I was told, all right, I have to wait 30 days after I get off the board. And then I have to wait another 30 days to reapply for the reach bed. So that's 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So then I meet the parole officer and tell her, she says no. Keep in mind, this is like a month and a half after. She says no, all you had to do was wait until you got off the board in 30 days. And so then I said, okay. And I told my case manager, and she showed me the email that showed otherwise. So she was like, why are they lying to me? Like, they lying on me and you. It's a tit for tat thing because I yelled at my case manager over it. And then more time go by. My time on parole is coming to an end soon. So now I'm at the point where you are allowed to stay at a reach bed for a certain amount of time.
Like 90
and
days.
Now that the time they were taking parole took their sweet time to respond, I got to the point in my time where I wouldn't even have been able to stay at a reach bed the full time. So now it went from that to you're just going to max out. You're going to EOS from the halfway house. So again, I got fucked over. And so I said, all right, I'm going to max out. I'm going to go to my mom's house. I gave them the address and everything. Everything was said and done. I was supposed to leave on January 8th, 2024. And it was, I believe, a week before Christmas, or a few days before Christmas. I'm taking a class. I'm on the class for my the DMV, and the staff comes and says, "Congratulations!" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm caught off guard. This is a few days before Christmas. She says, "Oh, you're leaving tomorrow. You're leaving the halfway house tomorrow." Now, I already knew that they was going to do a push-out. I didn't know I was going to be part of that push-out. So that went from that to me having to find a ride. Shout out to JD. And, I ended up going to my mom's house, but it was all rushed. And then, that situation fell to shit.
I always had a beef with the halfway houses because it is, a lot of times brothers and sisters, they just coming home and they think they just getting help. They think they having a advantage of this, getting from point A to point B. And like you said, they're not. They're falling right into a trap. I got one brother that was on an ankle monitor. Now, technically, you're only supposed to be on an ankle monitor for 90 days. They had it on way longer than that. He keep voicing his grievance. He keep talking about it. He keep reaching out to them, but they don't want to hear it. They keep giving him the runaround. He had only 2 weeks left, and he'll just be out of the halfway house. But he asked him, like, yo, can I just get this off? But, before I see my mama, before I see my people, y'all done told me this, y'all lying. They still going back and forth with him, said something slick to him. He wanted his room, and he cut it off. Soon as he wanted his room and cut it off, not only did they, take him back to prison, but they handcuffed him, jumped on him, and then took him back to prison. So they want you to make sure they get paid. They want to make sure you don't do no smoking. They want to make sure that you don't leave that room.
Quote, quote. They want you to not smoke in the house.
Outside.
Like outside, they don't care.
No, I'm just saying in that building, in that structure.
They create a hostile environment, and then they expect us not to be hostile back.
You want truth, but you're not even replying to truth. So I ain't gonna hold you too long, cause I know you're a busy man, brother. But thank you for coming down here.
Yeah.
Thank you for pulling up. When you got time, you can pull up again. You always got a seat right there or right, whatever you want to see, you always got a seat. Thank you, Mike, Bishop, the YN. This is Pilot Language. My name is Ra. Paul George, I'm still beefing with you. Peace.
Peace.